Hey, my name is James Mason. In this video, I'm going to talk about my favorite trading pattern. It's actually probably the most simplest one that you can realize, and how I use this pattern for swing trades, and I'll do a little bit of charting as well. So, my favorite pattern, which is also many others' favorite pattern, just because it proves to work. It is the ascending pattern. That's simple. So you look at the 1 year, 1 day chart, and you want to see something like this, a trend that has been ascending for pretty much the whole year. That's what you want to see, or at least a strong period of that year. So the reason why is you want to trade stocks that are going up in value. It's the easiest way really to make money swing trading in the stock market. Is it guaranteed? Absolutely not. But your chances are a lot better here than to try to get into all of the very complex other trading patterns. So you start right here. You find a stock that has been uptrending for the past year, and you go to the low point with your little trend line tool, and click right there, and you lay it across the bottom. Now let's see, come right here, come on, there we go. Alright, so that's how we will start this. We start this little wedge down here, and it just shows how this is ascending up in value, and it shows the fluctuation in price. So next, what we'll do is we'll come through here and just chart it like everything else. So actually I'll start at the top. So what I always do is I just automatically draw a line at my high point for the year, because technically that is a resistance. Now normally I would say a resistance or support is where your pattern had bounced off that line twice, but being that this is the highest price and it went down from there, clearly that was a resistance. So the next one, technically we can put a line right here to come across, and let's see, as I go down, I mean, it definitely hits right there, but you kind of have all this trading sideways right here. So I'll probably come back to that, take another look in a second once I establish the rest of this chart. It's kind of consolidating right there. Right here, it's consolidating on that line. So I'll go ahead and mark that off. And So if you're not familiar with charting, this might look crazy. So anyways, so we have a ascending, an uptrending pattern for the year on this ticker. And now, what do all these freaking lines mean? Well, if you look in close, it shows, where the supports and resistance are. So let's just say, none of this over here had happened yet, and it came down through here, and it bounced off of this line, which, this area right here, this shows, that this was being a resistance for a little while. And that's why I put this here, so every resistance becomes a support once you break past it. So it's coming back down, and this is a support, and it did bounce off of that. So as you can see right here, if I was swing trading actually at this point, and I watched it came down here, and this candlestick, it's coming down. I'm watching it on the 1 year 1 day chart, and it's going to come down right there, and then it's kind of like it's meeting that support, and over here same thing, and over here same thing, and over here, at this point this shows a clear support for this line. And so to swing trade this, I would have bought in right here, and I know this next line is a resistance, so I would have bought in right here, and honestly I would have probably wrote it up to somewhere hopefully right in there, and that's where I would have sold. Now, should you always sell right on each line, or should you buy on that line for support and sell on the resistance? I can't tell you what you need to do, but the way it usually works is it usually doesn't actually hit down on these supports to buy, and that shows it right here, and it really doesn't go up to the resistance all the time to to say that's where you would sell. But you got to think also, there are so many other people, they see these lines as well. That's how they are trading this. They are going to be selling, so you want to take your profits sooner than later, because if everybody else starts selling and you passed up profits, then that's just money lost that you could have had. So that's where I would have probably sold for that swing trade. And again, it sells off, it comes back down here, and the same support line, it's bouncing off of it, and then it goes back up. And so basically I would have waited to see what it was going to do. We saw it touch right there, then had a better day. Then it did break past, but it closed above it. Then it touched, and then it came back up. And then this one right here, it touched, and this one right here, I would have watched it and closer, as to when this stopped being red and started going up to be green. That's when I would have bought it. So even if I bought it midways up for a swing trade, I would have got it right there probably, and I would expect it to see this first big candlestick, so I wouldn't have sold, to be honest. And then these next two, I would have been like, dang, I wish I would have sold. So this next good green candlestick, that's where I would have sold. So there's that. Now, if it bounces off this support, does it have to go all the way back up? Absolutely not. You can see that right here. But then it kind of starts going down, and the line right here where it's showing the ascending pattern, Well, now it's bouncing off that line. And then you have a good run up. So when you chart these out for this ascending upward pattern, you'll have your ascending line right here, and at the same time you'll also see, even though they bounce off of these lines, they'll bounce off of these lines as well, and you can see that. So this is my favorite trading pattern. Out of all of the trading patterns out there, I think this is the most simplest one, or at least it's simple for me. I understand it, and I'm going to use it because it makes sense to me, and if I can make it easier on myself, then that's great. So you guys try this out. Hopefully this works for you as well. And if you guys are using any other patterns, hit me up in the comments. Let me know. I want to hear what you guys are using. I mean, I know what all the other patterns are, but I just honestly think this is the easiest one to see and to trade off of. So, being that most people that are going to be watching this course are beginners, or just somebody that's wanting to learn a little bit more, this is probably going to be the best trading pattern for you. So I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this video. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. Please give me a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next one.